Hi folks, over the last 4 weeks you could watch my latest video series that I did together with Orange Quarter about how to get a new job as a software developer. One of the pieces of feedback that I got from this series is that, hey Greg, it all sounds great, but as a junior developer, I don't have that much stuff to put in my resume. I don't have that much experience to talk about. I don't have that many examples of things that I can share with HR during the interview. And I hear you. I thought about it, and during all my interviews, I asked one more question that I didn't publish. And this question was, what advice would you give right now in the end of 2020 to junior developers who struggle to get a new job? Today I published this bonus episode especially for junior devs so that you can hear what all my guests have to say. My name is Gregor, you're watching Not Only Code. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's do it.
It's all about activity. You have to be so active, so proactive. So you need to be, if you find a job in a company you like, you need to be connecting with that manager on LinkedIn, connecting with talent acquisition on LinkedIn, talking to these people and saying, okay, do you have advice? Like, what can I do to be part of the conversation here? You also need to, because there are a lot of juniors, you need a lot of side projects, of things that you've done in your own time to stand out above people. Because, if you're GitHub, you need to do a lot on GitHub. Yeah. You need to, have a blog, have a website, run your own projects, like just build stuff.
Okay, you just have to work harder, but not only on the code, but also on the networking side. Because I think that's something that people ignore. They think that if I have enough projects, enough code out there, then I will be noticed, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, exactly. And, everyone, when you're younger, you aim for companies you've heard of, but that networking aspect means that you diversify the number of companies you've heard of. And by talking to more and more companies and putting these connections together, you'll open your chances for finding you might find a company that has 6 people in it, and they're not super VC backed or anything, but they can take someone who's an intern or a junior.
It's a lot of basic things like good preparation, what's the company about, show that you're eager to learn, show that you have some potential, because if that's what's going to be assessed. I think you can also be bold in a way, especially if you're working for instance on a technical assignment. I can actually relate it to how I got my first job as a junior. That maybe illustrates a bit my point with being bold. When I had my first interview at a system engineering company, they gave me this game where you have to move boxes, and they had like a sort of internal battle going on whether you could solve this game. It was a really complicated game. And they didn't expect me actually to do a case there. It was more like something that popped up during the interview as a funny thing. And I was so eager to get this job because I was not having an engineering job. I was working part-time in order picking kind of job. That actually this case stuck with me, and I actually really felt the eagerness to solve it. So I actually programmed something that would solve it, and actually it worked out. And I just sent it to them like, well, I thought about this. I just programmed a solution. And that actually they were really surprised that I did that, because they didn't ask me to solve this case. And it actually worked, and one of the programs internally didn't get it to work, so that was of course a fun thing. But I think what it did for me back then, and what I also think is sort of taking a certain initiative, being bold in a way that if you have a tech case, you got some feedback, and you get some feedback that you could significantly improve it. If you really feel the urge, like I really want to get this job and I really want to get better, why not just improve it and send it? It might give you a better impression, maybe a second chance.
What I would do, or what I would advise perhaps even before reaching out or targeting companies, is to spend some time building your own personal brand in a way. right? So, there's a lot of resource out there for developers, so start to build your GitHub presence, your Stack Overflow presence. Be as present as possible in all kind of online forums. If there are meetups, right now, physical meetups are impossible, but before and hopefully afterwards, if there are meetups, get involved, go down to those meetups, kind of soak in the information that you hear, try to network, meet people, make those connections, build your personal brand. If you have time, then start to invest in personal projects. It doesn't have to necessarily just be tech projects. If it is, then fantastic, and try to build projects on GitHub, etc. And a piece of advice would be, if you start a project, try to finish it, and build that online presence. And then when you start to target companies, again, be as surgical as you can around that process. So try to, if you're looking for, let's say your first job, try and target companies who have a history of strong graduate programs, or they have a history of bringing on junior developers and they have the infrastructure in place. Maybe target some of the graduate developers and junior developers in that company and reach out for help and advice. Maybe study some of the profiles in the team and kind of, reverse engineer it. Go back to, how did they start their career? What did they do? It's not possible to connect with every single engineer in these companies, but maybe you can take some learnings from their career and apply it to yours.
I think for people who are at the more junior end of the market, of course, it's still important to make sure that you receive an offer that you're comfortable with and that works for you and your lifestyle. But if I was someone junior with maybe 1-2 years experience in the market just now, and I was looking at moving jobs, for me, I would be putting my focus on, okay, let's set the money aside for 1 second. Let's set negotiation aside for 1 second. Let me find somewhere I think I can get better for the next 2-3 years. Let me find a manager that I think is going to work with me to make me better in the next 2-3 years. Because to answer the question directly, as a junior engineer, I think you need to be more concerned about where your skill set can get to, rather than getting rich now. You're going to make good money as a developer in Amsterdam. That's a fact. The industry's booming, right? COVID or not, there's a lot of tech companies in Amsterdam doing really well. And maybe this is a cliche thing to say, but I would be focused more on where do I want to work and where can I get better. At the end of the day, if you feel the offer's unfair, of course it's open to a discussion. Of course, you should always try and make sure financially things are set up for you to succeed and for your personal life to be fine. But I think you need to be looking more at the long term.
Got it.
Of what means the most to me in the next few years. Where can I be in 2-3 years time, rather than, how many more €100 a month can I make right now?
Alright folks, that's the end of this video series. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that getting a job will be a little bit easier for you right now. I want to thank Orange Quarter and all the people that helped me to make this video series happen. To Matt and Georgia, who came up with this idea and helped to organize it, and to Claire and Alicia, who every week helped me with the recording and made sure that everything looks very professional. I want to also thank to all my guests that agreed to do the interview. I really enjoyed talking to you all. And well, next week I'm coming back with my regular videos, so stay tuned.